Ben Gardner. I'm head instructor at 10th Planet Bath in Bath, New York. I'm a black belt, and I've been training for about 11 years now. So I trained at 10th Planet Rochester for about 11 years now. I'm a black belt under Chris Herzog. He's the main instructor up there, grappling instructor in 10th Planet Rochester. In jiu-jitsu, a lot of it is mental. Like, anybody can do it. Any body type, any type of athleticism, any age, anybody can do it. The reason most people quit is I think ego gets in the way, and it's just easier to stay home and watch Netflix on your couch or do whatever it is that you do, right? So for me, it's the mental resilience part of it, just keep showing up. That's one of the biggest things I learned in jiu-jitsu from my coach. He told me early on, like 3 months in, I asked him, like, how do I get better? Because everyone's killing me out here, right? I feel like I'm not getting any better. I feel like I'm getting worse, right? And he said to me, there's no silver bullet, just keep showing up. It's hard to get worse at jiu-jitsu if you keep showing up. And everything I learned during jiu-jitsu, it's a lot of techniques I remember, a lot of techniques I forgot. That's probably the single thing that helped me the most is just keep showing up. So where lots of people show up, take long periods of time off, show up again or never show up again, I pretty much consistently just kept coming all those years, just putting the time in. Whether I felt like coming that night, whether I was tired, just the grind all the time of mentally saying this is the only way you're getting better, like how bad do you want it. So that's helped me in all aspects of life. It's helped me in my professional career, tough times, with whether it's family issues, financial issues, whatever it might be in life, you kind of have that mental toughness to know that I'm going to keep grinding and we're going to get through. Nothing gets better when you quit. You only get better if you keep pushing through. So jiu-jitsu's had a huge impact on me that way. Just giving you that inner calm, I guess, that no matter what else happens, if I keep grinding, good things are going to come out of it. If I quit, nothing good comes out of it. So huge impact on me. I live down in Steuben County. That's about an hour and 10 minutes below Rochester, south of Rochester. And then where I work in Corning is about 35 minutes further. So for me to get to jiu-jitsu is about an hour and 40-minute drive from work. So I would get out of work at 5 o'clock, or try to get out of work at 5 o'clock, jump directly in the car and drive right up there. That'd give me just enough time, that hour and 40 minutes, to get there, change, and get on the mats at 7 o'clock for the classes. So early on, it was just a sacrifice for me. I was giving up time and stuff to go, but no big deal. It's something I wanted to do. But with my wife and my kids, as they got older, there's more commitments, other activities and stuff going on, and it was a big sacrifice sometimes, to be missing things to keep pursuing my goal and my dream, of getting better at jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it was a long time, especially in the winters. I remember times in the winters having 3-hour plus drives home occasionally with snowstorms and everything in New York. And sometimes you're driving home 20 miles an hour saying, what am I doing? But that's where I go back to that mental resilience, mental toughness, that just keep going and you're going to get better. And that's why I stuck with it. Even though there's long drives and everything, is worth it. When I was a purple belt, like I said, it was getting harder and harder to drive up there. So I asked my coach, Chris Herzog, I said, would you be cool if I started a class in my garage on Saturdays? Because it wasn't so demanding to be away from my family. I could just teach in my garage, had some mats out there, and then spend the rest of the day with my family rather than tying the whole day up driving. He was cool with that, gave me permission to just kind of do it for fun in the garage. So I put all mats down in my garage. It's 12 feet wide and 30 feet long. Got some mats on the walls and stuff. And just started teaching for fun with a couple of people around and a couple friends. A lot of people quit, but a couple of people stayed with it. And after a couple of years of doing that, it's wow, we have 6 or 8 people showing up every week. Maybe this could be the base, to start my own school someday down the road. If I ever get my black belt, if I achieve that at some point, even though it's a small community, maybe there's enough people that are interested and want to stick with it. So I guess that was really when it started to click in my head. I'm teaching people every Saturday and they keep showing up. Maybe this is a reality. I could do this sometime with a real gym.
You can skydive, you can do those couple of things you learned, but
Stay on top, stay low, and try to work good in opposition, right? Just the same like basic 3 principles we talked about. Just over and over again. First on bottom, you can buck your hips, try to create space, but ultimately the escape I want you to be working is get that elbow in, shift to your side, and do that out thrust escape that we just worked over a long time, right? Like I'm not gonna be impressed if like Kevin bench presses Christy off. It's free, right? I want you to do the correct technique, right? So you really got one escape I'm looking for you to work on bottom over and over again. Use blocks and bridges, try to create some space, and then go to your escape. Make sense? First on top, you're just trying to maintain block the whole time. Got it? Everybody get in your position. Yeah, so it's a whole family thing. So for jiu-jitsu before, when I was driving, it was kind of my thing. It was my release, is my dream, my goal. Now it's kind of turned into a whole family thing. Like my kids both train, they love it. They love doing it. They take karate, they take boxing, but they really like jiu-jitsu. If you ask what they like best, they say jiu-jitsu, right? Christy, my wife, she's taken it a couple times, taken a couple classes over the years, but really in the last year and a half, she's really fallen in love with it, and now she's here for every class. So yeah, it's kind of like, some time that we actually spend together as a family, where we're all here in the same building doing something that we all like now. It's not just a thing for me anymore. So that's awesome. And then as far as actually running the gym, like I couldn't do it without him. I still am working a full-time job and everything right now, but it's cool because Christy can be here before me, make sure the doors are unlocked if I'm running a little late or whatever. She helps so much at the desk, getting people signed in, signing people up for memberships, waivers, liabilities, all the stuff that happens that you don't realize happens until you have your own gym. Even my mom gets involved. Like she comes down, helps clean and stuff sometimes when all the time. Like everybody's literally involved in it. When we were setting the whole place up, my whole family is down here painting, cleaning things up, tearing carpets out, putting mats down. So everybody's been a huge help. So when I first was opening the gym, I'm like, I can't drive to Rochester forever, but I've got to keep involved in jiu-jitsu, right? So a way for me to do that was to have a place that was local, that was close to my house, within 10 minutes of my house now, so it's not nearly as demanding on time. I couldn't just be like, oh, I got my black belt, now I'm done with jiu-jitsu. No, that's like another beginning for me, right? So many people over the course of my life, martial arts instructors have poured so much into me, time, coaching, life lessons, whatever, especially my jiu-jitsu coach. And now I kind of looked at it as this is an opportunity for me. The black belt's a beginning, and I want to start teaching other people, and I want to be able to impact people's lives through jiu-jitsu and help them out along the way. We talked about how much jiu-jitsu's helped me in life, so I'm like, I want to give that to other people. I remember the first time I started jiu-jitsu, like that spark when it opened your eyes, and like you said, there's so much out there. And I don't want to lose that ever. And by teaching, I can see that over and over again as people come through the doors, like that first spark. Not everybody loves it, but a lot of people come through and they're like, cool, I want to do this. And it feels so rewarding for me to help them get there. And we're just starting, but you already see people it's eye-opening for them. They want to do it. So I guess that was for me. It's like opening my school was a way for me to stay involved, stay engaged, and not lose that love for jiu-jitsu. It's kind of a new chapter. Before I was competing and stuff, not doing that so much anymore. I'm older and stuff now, but I want to stay involved and I want to keep learning. And sometimes the best way to learn is by teaching other people. I teach techniques now and I'm like, wow, I'm thinking through details on this I never thought before. I just did before, but to teach it, you got to get a certain amount of proficiency. So yeah, so it was the idea of giving back to other people, is the idea of opening the gym so that I can stay involved in jiu-jitsu. It was the idea of me keep learning myself. As far as a further out goal, that's the initial goal. Now that I'm doing it, we have more students coming, and we're going to keep growing it. And I kind of looking at it. In my area, there's really not a lot of jiu-jitsu. So I kind of want to be the first one in the area to have a legitimate jiu-jitsu school and start turning out students that are also legitimate. Not trying to pick on any other schools or anything like that. I just want to make sure that we turn out students that have good fundamentals, they understand jiu-jitsu, they love jiu-jitsu. I don't want it to be watered down at all. So looking forward to growing an army here while we're getting ready to do our first tournament here in the next month. So excited to see how everybody actually does with their first 6 months training here and how they're doing. There's some people that had experience previously from other gyms, but really looking forward to it and just gonna start taking the area by storm with jiu-jitsu from this little town. So looking forward to it. Yeah, so absolutely living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And I think to answer that question, I think what it means is the jiu-jitsu lifestyle looks a little different for every person, right? So my journey is my own journey. Your journey is going to be your own journey, as it is for everybody, right? There's no one path to get to a black belt, and black belt shouldn't be the end goal, right? I got my black belt, and like I said earlier, it's just the beginning. So jiu-jitsu lifestyle for me is it doesn't look the same for everybody. Everybody has to make their own path. Our gym is called Dokkodo Martial Arts, and Dokkodo really literally means going my own way, right? It's the samurai way, going my own way. And that's kind of why I did it, because my path looks different than everybody else, right? Some people, maybe they are the people you're talking about. Maybe that is their jiu-jitsu lifestyle, but it's not for me here in the East Coast, right? I have a full-time job. I got a whole full-time family, responsibilities, other things I do with life, and it hasn't been easy. There's a lot of sacrifices that are given along the way, and I guess that's part of it, right? Like having your own path, but being willing to make those sacrifices, whatever your circumstances have to be, make those sacrifices to live that lifestyle and make that dream happen. And, you know, again, some people, maybe they live 5 minutes away from a gym. That's their path. That's what they want to take. Maybe some people quit at blue belt. That's their path, and that's what they chose. For me, it's never ending. I want to keep training as long as I possibly can be on the mats. When I can't do that anymore, I want to make sure I'm still actively coaching. That's the path I've chosen, and I just decided that nothing was going to stop me from it. And now this is just the next chapter. I have my own gym, trying to get other people on their own path, living their own jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And I think it makes us better people. I think it makes us more resilient people. And I think it's good for people's lives. And yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to spread it now. That's my journey now, is in that stage of spreading it to other people and giving back. Every time I come in, it's still like, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Like, I can't believe this actually happened. Thinking back to those white belt days always, right? Because I don't ever want to lose that. I don't want to lose like that humbleness of like, you know, there's so much to learn. I don't ever want to be like at this point where I'm like, oh, I've arrived, you know, there's nothing else to learn, there's nothing to improve on. Like, the more you do it, the more you find out there is to learn. I always want to keep that. So I guess the first word is surreal. Coaches come down, Coach Chris a couple times now. Like you said, yeah, it was, again, a surreal experience. Be like, hey, I've got my own gym now, and they're coming down and cross training with us. It's so cool. It's just a neat feeling. I don't even know how to describe it, but to be like, cool, my coach is now like visiting our gym and like helping teach my students. It feels so cool. It's like a high that's never worn off for me ever since I got my black belt. Like, some things wear off in life. You make an achievement or something and it's like, oh, that's cool. And like a week later, you're ready for something else. No joke, I have my black belt and I hung it on my dresser drawer by my bed. It's the first thing I see every morning when I get up. It's the last thing I see when I go to bed every night. I keep it there as a reminder. I'm not going to mount it on a wall or put it on a stand or anything. It's right there, so it's the first thing I see and the last thing I see. It's kind of like getting up and looking in the mirror every morning and being like, this is what you are. Like, go out there and live it through your whole life, right? While you're at work, while you're with your family, how you handle everything. I go back to like that mentality, and how it's changed me. So it's there for a reminder. Maybe it's corny, I don't know. That's where my black belt sits. It's my reminder every single day, like how I live my life, how I operate, how I train, you know, integrity, respect, humility, all those type of things. And it's there for a reminder for me. So yeah, it's been an awesome ride. It hasn't been easy. It's been a ton of work, and I know there's a ton of work to come. Want to grow this gym, want to get students. And Coach and I actually talked to him when we were out in LA, like how cool it was for him to finally have one of his black belts be able to go out there and train with him at Eddie's. You know, his teacher, my teacher, me, all of us there, right? Like, handed down like 3 generations. And he said to me, like, while we were eating afterwards, he's like, hey, now think about this, like 10 years down the road, how cool it would be if you had one of your black belts out here. And yeah, that's kind of a goal of mine now. I want to get somebody up to the black belt levels. I know it's not easy. Maybe that person hasn't even showed up here. I don't know, right? But someday I would love to have that experience, to be able to get to that point where I have somebody else who I've trained up and given as much knowledge as I can to, where they could open their own school, have their own students, and maybe get to have that same experience. Thank you to so many people. Thank you to my coach. Thank you to all my teachers over the years, but specifically my jiu-jitsu coach, Chris Herzog. Thank you, Coach. Thank you to all my training partners, every single one of them. There's some people like you, Chad, that have helped me tremendously more than you know. Like, how do I stop this guy? He's got this move, and it makes me think on those long drive home, like, what do I do different to not get in this position, or how do I get out of this, or how do I attack this guy? There's been so many other ones over the years. There's 4 or 5 ones that always stick out to you as the guys you trained with the most for the longest periods of time. So thank you to all of them. Like, without your training partners, you can't train, and without your training partners to push you, you never get better. And it's really the guys that were beating me are the ones that like pushed me the most, because it's like, man, I gotta, like, how do I catch up? You don't get pushed as much by the guys that aren't beating you. It's the guys that are beating you, for me, because you want to get to that level, so they're pushing you. But also the people that are lower ranks too. Thanks for all the things you still are able to learn from them. I've loved all of it. I love every single grind. Looking back, every bruise, every break, every tear, you look back and it's worth it, and it makes you who you are. And I wouldn't change any of it, because that's my journey.